All right, if I gave you this chart and asked you, what is f of 10? Would you know what the answer was? So this is something from a long time ago. This is our very first chapter. I think by the end of this hour, you're going to say, oh, these were pretty easy. Because it was our first chapter. It should be pretty easy. It hadn't gotten hard yet. All right. Today's homework is a Schoology quiz, and a lot of kids ask me, do I have to type in f of 10? If they asked you f of 10, they just want to know what the answer is, which is a single number. At this part of the year, you were giving a lot of answers that were just single numbers. And then we got into real algebra 2, where usually your answer isn't just a single number. But on today's, there's a few that are just a single number. And what is that answer today? Did you have 2? Raise your hand if you had 2. Okay, awesome. Now, here's one that's sometimes freaks people out. What's f of x equals 3? What's that? And if you think the answer is just one number, you're not thinking deep enough. I'm going to pause for a second to let you noodle on that one for a bit. Okay, the key here is to recognize that I did not tell you x. Effectively, I told you y was 3. Do you get I kind of said y is 3? And I asked you what the x was. And I know this is a nice, clean, easy answer, and x is 2, and it works. But there's another answer. Because, see, there's another place where y would be 3. Like over here, there would be a spot where y would be 3. Right? Now, I didn't name it, but you should have known that there'd be 2 places where y was 3. This one that was obvious, and the answer was 2 for that one. But also this one, where x would probably be a little less than, this is 10, right? So probably 9. Who knew that there was another answer of about 9? All right, that was kind of difficult, wasn't it? Now, another way to do this is this. Would you agree I say f of x means y? F of x is y. Didn't I pretty much just say y is 3? Well, that's the line that goes like this, isn't it? Y equals 3 is a line that goes like that. And it would go through this spot and that spot. So that's another way to think of it. All right, here's the next question on this same chart. And again, I can tell I'm challenging you enough to see that there's a few things you could have forgot. Therefore, a reason to study. All right, here's my third question. F of 2n minus 3 is equal to 7. I'm going to pause for a second, and if you're lost, talk to the kid next to you. They might remember how to do these. All right. I heard at least one kid explaining it right. F of 5 is 7. Look, that's just a fact. I got it from right here, and I just wrote it underneath. Do you get why I picked that one? Because they both end with 7. They both say equals 7. And if f of 5 is 7, and if f of 2n minus 3 is 7, then this part must equal this part. So 2n minus 3 has got to equal 5. And then to solve that, I just add 3 to both sides. 2n equals 8, and n equals 4. Raise your hand if you had n equals 4. Thank you. All right. At least half of you figured it out. Maybe some of you are realizing, dang, I may need to study for this final because there's some hard ones on here. I'm going to do another one just like that, just to practice it. Now, make sure you get what I did. I wrote what was 7. I found what was 7 on the chart. I found one of the points that was equal to 7. And that helped me. Okay? All right. So here's one more like that. F of 2p minus 1 is equal to 3. I'm going to pause for a second while you puzzle this one. Okay, so what I like to do is write a fact right underneath it. F of something is 3, and f of 2 is 3. Now, if you really want to get picky, f of 9 was also 3, but we can do that later. All right, f of 2 is 3. Then, if that's true, then you can copy this equals this. 2p minus 1 equals 2. 2p equals 3. Divide by 2, divide by 2. P equals 3 over 2. Raise your hand if you got that one. Awesome. Did anybody think about how this spot right there would be about 9, comma 3, and therefore f of 9 would also have worked. Did anybody catch that? All right, a few of you did. Nice work. Now that's getting really complicated, but all right. Now we're going to do one where the giant chart. Please do not copy this chart, but do use it to answer the questions about the chart. All right, we'll start with a super easy one. What's f of 4? Now, you might be thinking there's two answers. There is not. Talk to that kid next to you. What do you think f of 4 is? Six is the correct answer. It's 6. You go f of x and see x is 4. F of x, that's f of 4, is 6. All right, you got that one? All right, let's go the other way. What if I said f of x, which means I'm not telling you the x, am I? F of x is 7. Do you get that x would have to be 5 then? That make sense? Okay. Then, here's a more challenging one. F of g of 3. F of g of 3. Pause for a second while you try that one. All right. I hope you did g of 3 first. And then all of a sudden, it's actually pretty easy. If you just do g of 3 first, g of 3 would be 2. Then that's 2. And then f of 2 is the next question. And f of 2 gives you 4. Who had 4 for your final answer? Good job. All right, now here's a very difficult one. Let's see if you can handle this one. You know, that was too hard. Last hour, literally nobody got it right when I tried to square root of x. But I'm going to say 4x minus 3 is equal to 5. For those that are struggling with this kind, just right underneath it, put f of something is 5 and then figure it out. F of what is 5? F of 3 is 5. See? F of 3 gives you 5. So then, 4x minus 3 needs to equal 3. 4x equals, oops, I was doing it in my head already. I was adding 3 to both sides. And it's equal to 6. And then I divide by 4. 6/4 is 3 over 2. Who had 3 over 2 or 1.5? Nice. All right, good. So there's just a little reminder that does that cover everything on the whole chapter? No. It took me like 5 days to teach the whole chapter. But that's like some of the hardest stuff. You'll find some of them are super easy. So you have a Schoology quiz. Now the weird thing about the Schoology quiz is problems 1, 2, and 3 don't show up unless you go through Safari. But I don't want to make you do that. So I found problems 1, 2, and 3. And I just put them on the board up here. So if you're following along at home and you don't feel like logging in through Safari to do your homework today, the Schoology quiz first question is negative 5 squared. Now, it's important to note there are no parentheses here. So, do you get the conundrum? It's either going to come out 5 squared is 25 and then you put the negative on there, or it's going to be negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. So it's either positive or negative 25. You talk to the kid next to you, and why don't you guys figure out what you think it is? Question? That is optional, yes. The Schoology quiz is what I need you to do. The rest of it in the folder is kind of like support for you if you want more problems. All right, so did you figure out it came out to negative 25? If you don't believe me, you could type it in both ways on a calculator. The way where you put it in parentheses, it'll come out positive. This way, it'll come out negative. All right, and for number 2, it's negative 2 times the absolute value of negative 3. Don't overthink this. It's not super hard. I hope you can do that without any help. On to number 3. Number 3, it is the square root of absolute value of negative 16. If you think there's no solution, you're wrong. There is. Maybe you're doing it in the wrong order. All right, and then when you get to number 4, all the problems start appearing, and you'll be able to see them whether you're in the Schoology app or if you went through Safari. Either way, you'll be able to see them. So go ahead and finish off your Schoology quiz. That's some practice. What we're going to do is basically a few days on each of the old chapters. We really don't spend much time on the new chapters because you just did them, and you just took the cumulative on it. So you've done the test twice on that stuff, just recently. So I'm going to hand those back in class. If you're gone today, you'll know that I just handed the cumulatives back today after the end of this lesson. And then kids could ask questions about that if they want. That's all I got for you for today.